draft ban for ASN, perfect. Make sure Eanix cannot pick it. I'd still expect the Celeste, because then you can go Celeste cool if it's open, or you can just go Celeste in the jungle, maybe pick a lane Idris or similar.
Or Black Feather in that lane of... Oh, wait, what? No, I think the teams are picking wrongly. Mini,
I think there might
talk to me!
There might be a misclick. I think they probably wanted to pick CP Adagio, but they've gone for Reza. So this is going to be really interesting to see Reza. It's almost definitely going to be a CP Reza. We might see it lane, we might see it jungle. I'm not sure what they're going to go for. Instead of the Celeste Cruel comp, they're just going to counter Reza with Cruel and Idris. Reza is an assassin. He's similar to Taka, if you don't actually know how Reza works.
Yeah.
And now he's up against a Bruiser who's Cruel and someone called Idris, who is fantastic against assassins. Idris does well against Taka, does well against Koshka and all of the heroes like that. So I think they're in a bad position. They need to put Reza, I'd say, in the jungle. And you go someone like a lane Vox could work, but it's really they're in a bad position. I don't think Reza was the smartest pick.
Yeah, I mean, I must agree with you. I was thinking the side of Eanix would have just went for the Black Feather, misclicked into Reza, and then, of course, close the comp out with that Celeste. That would be a rather optimum pick. If not Celeste, then, of course, Samuel as well. Taka is just a stronger version of Reza. Koshka does well as compared to...
In the early game.
Yeah, so... But he is a good pick as well.
Okay, I think we all don't think Reza's a good pick, in case you haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
We think Reza's a bit too weak in the early game, and late game there were better options. There were Celeste is better in the late game, and I think there are a lot better. You could do a lot better
if you decide to go for Reza, but maybe they're really comfortable on him. Maybe they think he's the meta. He's going to be really strong. Maybe they're really comfortable on how to play Reza. So maybe. So again, there's a lot of maybes because him in competitive. We don't know how strong he is, but I'm definitely going to go for ASN for this draft. They've got Idris Cruel, a great combination, and it looks like it's going to be a lane weapon glaive, good counter to Idris, and maybe Reza with his B will be able to run away from Cruel. So I guess they've got that going for them.
Yeah, but I hope to see a CP Idris, to be completely honest, because of how Idris has been changed, or the weapon part. Not exactly a big nerf. Idris did not take a big hit by any means. There is no Blaze It for Idris, but because of that change to Idris ratios, the crystal part of Idris, or the crystal divergent path, is just a tad stronger as compared to the weapon path. As long as you can land those chakrams, which I'm sure at this particular level of play, they will definitely be able to. But I'm still excited to see, though, how the side of ASN...
I'm interested to see what if ASN go for that Crystal Idris, as you said.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense. Against Weapon Glaive, Weapon Idris isn't good. Crystal Idris would work really well, because as long as you're not snowballed too hard early game, as long as you get your Frostburn, then you'll be in a fantastic position. Or just get 100 CP. Most people go for Frostburn first on Idris, because it does unlock conversion pass. And then the Weapon Crawl will be great against Reza. He'll be able to stick on top of him. Even when Reza does Netherform Detonator, goes invisible for a bit. Once Crawl gets on top of him, he gets weakness stacks, and then Reza is empowered, but then he's nerfed by Crawl, and so it kind of evens out. And I think I really like ASM, but we don't know. Maybe Eanix have practiced their Reza. Maybe they're fantastically comfortable and strong on Reza, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, but I mean, if I were a Pyromaniac, I would still go for Scarf, although Scarf is banned out at this point in time. But that was something
that's it.
Yeah, but that was something... Yeah, but that was something that Milski said, and it kind of resonates with a lot of players around the world, to be honest. And we saw a meme as well. I'm sure you did. It was all over Twitter. I think it was Leon or Avonsi that posted a meme that, last time, previous patch, the treant, or the mid treant, the mid minion in the jungle was this biggie thing with horns, and afterwards they say it's a transformation of that. That's why Reza is so potato in the current patch, at least. So I found that quite funny, and honestly, Reza, there might be like a secret way to play Reza that the casters and of course the other players, and I'm sure the viewers, haven't quite yet figured out. So let's see what the pro players can bring to the table. And of course, in this case, what I Angry You Die or Trophies will bring to the table, because I'm not sure. Both Trophies and I Angry You Die, they can go on either roles. If the Glaive will be in lane, then of course Trophies will be playing on the Glaive, and of course I Angry You Die on that Reza. But judging from how I Angry You Die have been playing so far, he no longer wants to end games as fast as possible. Instead, he prefers farming up into that late game before he starts being very aggressive. So in this case, in this particular scenario, then maybe it will work out for them.
Yeah, I think we like to see I Angry You Die. He loves to play Glaive. So that could push Glaive onto him. And then obviously, as a jungler, that means you've got Reza in lane. I feel like Reza is actually stronger in lane. His Scorcher doesn't go through jungle minions. It stops at the first jungle minion it hits, which is really the main reason why his jungle clear speed is so slow. Whereas in lane, you know that it will go through all lane minions, so you can farm up much more effectively. You can poke the enemy more effectively with a lane Reza. And looking at the teams, it does look like Trophies is on Reza, so it's most likely to be lane, but you never know. Maybe Angry Die is going to be pushing this Glaive to lane, and just because he's so comfortable on Glaive, that's why we're going to see Angry Die on it. Now we are into the Halcyon Fold, so I think we're going to see a Reza lane. So I do agree that's much stronger than in the jungle.
Yeah, but it would be pretty funny though if we do see a Samuel, Grace, and Reza. Grace being the one that took care of Reza, if I'm not wrong, and of course Samuel is the son of Reza, but of course Samuel the stronger son than the father. But honestly, Trophies. Oh, that's the first laugh I made Mini Mitre laugh. Viewers,
I like that one. That was good.
Thank you. But honestly, Trophies going for that Weapon Blade pickup, probably for that earlier clear. But I would have preferred if he just went for that Book of Eulogies, just for that sustain, going up against Aeon 222 on that Idris that has got, I reckon, the better clear speed as compared to Reza. But if I'm not wrong, or rather Mini, correct me if I'm wrong, but does the Scorcher, as a perk, or rather Fire Starter, affect all the lane minions? Or the last one it crashed at?
I know that I think it affects all of them on the way. No, it can't. That'd be too OP. I think his Fire Starter perk would only affect what it crashes into. So he's now going to go into Aeon, but he can't do anything. Trophies just hasn't got that much poke. And the Fire Starter perk is so important on whether you really need to use it properly. And so yeah, we see the Fire Starter is now on Aeon, so it only applies to whatever it impacts with. So that means the hero, so now Aeon has got that ready. So if Trophies manages to get in range, probably by using his Troublemaker, one of the charges, that would be how to get in range. And yeah, he's doing good poke. He's landing the Scorchers really well, but it's doing absolutely nothing onto Aeon.
Absolutely nothing indeed. But we all know, and the casters and of course other...
Oh, it's going to be going in. Aeon's going to go out of the still will be stunned, but Monkey in a bad position. Great rotation from Xingyi. First blood over to the Thrall. Now Angry Die rotating up. Xingyi's hiding in the top bush. Who's going to go for the first gank? Will it be Angry Die with the afterburn? Will it be Xingyi with the dead man's rush? Trophy's in a bad position. Xingyi's right next to it, but there's going to be the afterburn, and Xingyi's going to try and keep Aeon alive. Good boots from Angry Die. Try and keep himself alive, but there's no afterburn. One more basic attack will secure the kill. ASN 2-0 already. Rough Monkey's back in lane, so Aeon's going to farm up the wave best he can, then just back off. Xingyi happy to help secure one kill and assist with the other one.
Yep, very good rotation coming up from Xingyi, like you said. And honestly, we did say, and of course the other analysts like that of physics have also mentioned that Reza, it's basically a walking aftershock, and a lot of his kit revolves around getting the Fire Starter perk onto your enemies and then basic attacking them just to execute, and rather not execute, but then burn that perk, burn that Fire Starter to do a lot more damage. But honestly, with all of his skills not having much damage to them and how incredibly weak he is, granted you have a form of escape in terms of a nether form detonator, but even then it is quite telegraphed, although you cannot quite see it. You kind of know because of its range. It's not very far. It's not like you can Kaku and run away, but you just disappear for a little while and then reappear at another spot. So pretty much like Idris, but then no one can tell. But it is quite telegraphed in a sense where it is not a big radius where you can run to in team fights. And on top of that, another form detonator, you really want to use it aggressively and not very passively, like when you do use your Rose Offensive. You really want to go in with your Rose Offensive, and when the time calls for it, to get out of it, or to try to dodge out statuses and of course stuns and silencers and whatnot. But for another form detonator, it's quite different in that sense. You really want to go in with that aggressively.
Yeah. Reto is really the strong. He's quite a good hero when empowered because of Netherform Detonator. Apart from that, he's kind of alright. If you really go aggressive after that ultimate, that's when you do the majority of your damage. We are going to be seeing a Crystal Power Idris, so that's really smart. Truffy's doing a bit of poke, but not really anything Aeon can't heal through with that Book of Eulogies. Iron Gudai is level 6, but Shingy isn't, so that's no real Hell's Heart gank by Shingy. And Truffy's not going to be able to port home. And he's probably not going to be able to get home there either, I reckon. Shingy's going to go for it. Nope. Good after from Glaive to keep Shingy away. That is intention by Proc on Glaive. And the level 6 on Angudai means nothing. When Shingy hits that 6, it'll be about quite soon a little bit more farm or a little bit more just ambient experience, and Shingy will hit 6. And that's a really good power spike for ASN. And there is the level 6. Could go for it from Hell's Heart. They do not know Shingy is level 6. Now they do. Angudai going to get hit by the stun. That is quite a long stun. Spectral Smite, not quite enough. Aeon still has not got his Divergent Pass unlocked. With 2k gold, can afford a Frostburn easily, but hasn't picked it up yet. Sharpies with a little bit of damage. Shingy going to dive under turret. Wants to get the kill onto Reza. Not quite enough. Doesn't land the Spectral Smite. I think that was a wasted fountain from Desert Boy. He was expecting Shingy to dive under turret, but Shingy decided not to. So now fountain is available for Grace, but not for Lyra. Now they're going to push this turret. Probably going to try and just get it, or maybe get a kill. And yeah, they're going to go find Gudai. Smite not quite enough. He's going to be able to back away, and they're not going to get the turret and not going to get a kill. So not worth it for ASN. They should have either gone for the turret or just dived all on Glaive. Shingy unable to port home. Great troublemaker by Droppies to stop that port from Shingy. Now Aeon with 2.5k gold now just needs to farm up this one wave, and he has to rotate down to jungle or port home soon.
He definitely has to. Sitting at gold doesn't make you stronger, although Trophy is maybe looking for more. However, Aeon will quickly just pick up this wave and hopefully pot back home, but nope, I take that back.
Yeah, he's going to go in, try and clear another wave. That's one of the problems with this in the early game, is your clear speed is so slow that you keep having waves to clear, and there's never a good time to go home. Except for now, he's done well. He's cleared the wave, going to rotate down to shop instead of port back, which is much quicker. And I reckon he could probably pick up a full Broken Myth if he wanted to. He's probably going to get the Frostburn though. Nope, straight Shatter Glass and then work towards an Alternating Current. It's very interesting. We don't tend to see Alternating Current on Crystal Idris. It works because you obviously get your attack speeds and get a little bit of extra damage on those autos. And now this is a really good time for Melzart, just dodged by the Troublemaker. So ASN unable to really capitalise on that. And they're still going to try and push this turret, but I think Eanix should be able to defend it.
Yep, Scorcher kind of missed a little trophies though, or rather Chingy though, looking to go in. A lot of pressure and a lot of emphasis on lane at this point in time. I think the side of ASN Esports just think that because of how weak Reza is in the early game, they want to try capitalizing on the weakness, but we do see the damage coming out from Aeon though.
We do trophies, it's very low. One more Chakram double shot would easily pick him up. And we saw a Storm Crown first on trophies. Something I noticed was very odd. Normally we see Aftershock Storm Crown on Reza, but Aftershock first. He's now picked it up, so maybe he just wants to clear the farm a lot quicker, try and clear lane quicker, and not really go for the damage. Shingy going to go for the gold mine. Will Eanix do the reverse steal? Angudai is very low. And see, that's how you take objectives. You kill them so they can't even try, and easily secured by ASN. So that'll be a nice gold payout, immense gold payout for them. Reza is just clearing the jungle. He's trying to farm himself up. Idris already with a Shatter Glass and Alternating Current. Idris and Reza have the same number of items, but Idris's are far more expensive, so it's really good for ASN at the moment.
Definitely, and it's one thing that we must note as well. A lot of times when we do see Storm Crown on that Idris or on Reza, it is usually because Reza is placed in that jungle role. But honestly, being in lane and you have got so much farm, you could have just opted for that Shatter Glass, for that a little more damage for your Fire Starter Heroic Perk. And on top of that as well, all of your abilities do scale with Crystal Power. So it kind of boggles my mind as to why Storm Crown is chosen as one of the damage items or one of the the items, pick up. Granted, you want to clear your way fast, but with extra crystal power, you can do that as well.
Yeah, I do agree. Crystal power gives you damage on your abilities, which gives you damage on minions. But Aeon is doing damage onto that turret. Eanix have to back off, and turret is one minion wave push from dead pretty much. Given the damage this Crystal Idris has, I think Eanix need to fight soon because Aeon is only going to ramp up on the CP Idris as Propel's Heart. That'll be a dead blade. Nothing he can do. Block on the Propel's Heart, block on the Holy Nova. And that's a heal going down onto Truffy. Shiggy wants to go onto Rough Monkey. That man's rush not quite enough to pick up the kill, but Truffy's will fall to Idris basic attack. And that was an easy target for ASN. Now they can take whatever they want. They're going to get the jungle. And they're going to get the backs and sentry probably as well because they just can. There's nothing that Eanix can do at this point. They're behind in gold. And ASN are just going to ramp up to late game with this Crystal Idris. I think Reza, unfortunately, will not have that strong a place in this meta.
Definitely. It's quite sad to see because I had such high hopes for Reza, but honestly, yet again, it is just down to the Storm Crown. Had Reza probably went for Aftershock Broken Myth instead, just utilizing the farm lane, the farm he's getting in lane a little better by picking up raw crystal power, then it would have probably worked out at the end of it all. But the problem with with Reza at this point in time, if you are going to stop for the Storm Crown, granted it helps you farm a little faster, but even then you cannot quite win.
There's the boy afterburned away from Hell's Heart was used to try and get stunned, but didn't do anything. Actually, Idris getting the kill onto Glaive with those basic attacks. Aeon doing so much work on this Crystal Idris. He's now going on to Rough Monkey as the basics doing a lot of damage. There's a Shakram going to pick up the kill. Actually, Cool managed to confirm that. Aeon doing fantastic work of just standing at the back line and dealing out massive damage with this Shatterglass AC. It's probably going to be into a Broken Myth. And now ASM, good rotation. The Sentry isn't up for them to take. Actually, Reza is walking with the Sentry, but they're going to back off there. Everyone's a level ahead, and they're 5k gold ahead. ASN don't need to get caught out. They just have to take objectives. When a fight comes, get kills, and they should be pretty good going on to later in the game.
Yeah, but we do see though, Truffy's going for that Broken Myth. Like we all always and constantly say that Reza is just so good in that late game once he gets all his items. But whether or not ASN will allow that of Eanix to get into that late game that we constantly talk about, but Truffy's at this point in time maybe caught out.
Hell's Heart, Truffy's, you do a bit of damage, but he got absolutely deleted by the Arcane Passage, damage from Shingy and Aeon. Great rotation. ASN, they're such a coordinated team. As soon as they get one kill, they went, okay, we can try and dive this Grey Slave. It's not going to work. We're not going to get the kill. Just get a Sentry, and now we'll look to see if we can get the kill. He's going to be the Holy Nova, not quite landing. Rough Monkey is going to go very low, bounce himself. He has got the Divine Intervention available. Idris going to get the kill before he can even channel it. So much damage on this Crystal Idris. He's already got two items, nearly got the full Broken Myth. Aeon taking a lot of target shots, and he's going to dive for it. That was just ridiculously over-aggressive from the Idris. Aeon is now in the base drop. He's going to do a little bit of damage onto Xingyi, but he's not going to get any of the jungle because Xingyi's going to take that entire farm rotational away. Iangudai managing to trade his life. The first kill for Eanix onto Idris, and so that's definitely worth it for him. And Aeon just slightly out of position. He shouldn't lose too much, but probably should have been able to pick up Broken Myth by now.
Yeah, but we do see a lot of damage coming up from Aeon though, so that is one thing that we must know. No matter how well you scale as a Reza, we must constantly remember that Idris is a thing and is a force to be reckoned with. Changes were made to the Crystal, the weapon power ratios, but not to Crystal. And Crystal in the last patch, we've seen it in the other regions as well. And Crystal power Idris in the other regions have seen a rise in terms of the meta standings because of how strong he is and how much damage the Chakrams can put out. And that is really just part of the kit. It's really different in sense where, the weapon Idris, when you really just want to be up front, personal, go in, the Shimmer strike in, whereas for Crystal Idris, you just want to hit from the back lines, and Aeon is just doing so well on this Crystal Idris. And although Truffy is at this point in time, we are seeing a little more damage coming up from him, but not as much to scare the side of ASN off.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think if you get hit by a Shaq from Crystal Idris, you get scared. If you get hit by a Scorcher from Reza, it just tickles. It's not that significant of a thing to start a fight, where it's a double Shaq from hit, force it, makes full able to dive in. And I think that's the main problem with Eanix's comp, is Iangudai never has the time to dive in. Whereas Cruel, as soon as it just gets a little bit of poke down, Cruel can go, right, I'm going to dive in, I can probably secure a kill. Whereas Iron Gudai has to be the engager. He has to be the first one to dive in to allow Trophies on this Reza to be able to troublemaker through the enemy, get some damage off, get the fire starter procced, and there's from Hellsart landing onto Glaive. Lovely arcane passage. Glaive is stuck. He can't do anything with the stun, and the Divine Intervention wasn't enough to save him. There's no echo on Rubber Monkey yet, so he hasn't got a second Divine Intervention. This will be an easy second turret for ASN. We're 40 minutes in there. They're only now taking the second turrets. They've been really slow with pushing these turrets, but they've just taken the jungle Crystal Sentry down 3 times. That's now eliminated, and Trophies wants to do what he can. That's the Troublemaker doing a bit of damage to Xingyi. Then again, Trophies is taking a lot more from this Crystal Idris. A couple of basic attacks. One Chakram not quite going to land. Now Aeon is going to be in a bad position. Xingyi just taking away the heal, and now ASN can rotate down through the jungle. There's no sentry for them to contest with. They can just hide in and just wait. Aeon's going to be flared out, and Trophies is still about half health. Aeon is now going to rotate up to lane, work towards that wave. And Xingyi just wants the jungle. That's all he really wants to get. Wants to clear a full jungle rotation away from Eanix. So now Xingyi's going to be on the back line. Hellsart is available. He's going to miss, and he's going to get the stun onto Rough Monkey. That's going to be a dead grace, no question. Xingyi doing really well to land these stuns on Cruel, and that will be the 3rd turret falling. I reckon ASN is going to take a Kraken and push to win this game.
Yep, that is the 3rd turret. Just launching them into the 10k gold lead for the side of ASN Esports. And this Reza, I was expecting a little more to come out from this pick and just prove us wrong that Reza, it's kind of dumb hero. But you know, Eanix didn't. Well, I'm sure he does, and that is why he forsaken his little kid that is just so much stronger than he is. But, you know, honestly, I was expecting a little more coming up from this Reza, and I'm sure you are as well. We are hoping to see what a pro team or a pro player can bring out of this Reza, but quite a disappointing performance so far. But granted, the side of Aeon, or rather the side of ASN Esports, they have got a very strong comp going for them. They have got a sustain coming out from Lyra. The weakness stacks from Cruel, and on top of that as well, they have got Aeon on that Crystal Idris that is putting out so much damage with just one single chakra.
There's going to be the Ice of Silence onto Grace. The Water is also used, but they don't need to fight to push turrets. Iron Gudai diving onto Aeon. He has no weapon power defense. Divine Intervention will keep Iron Gudai alive. Aeon's going very low. Glaive's going to pick up the kill, but where is Cruel? He's onto the vein now. The turret has fallen. ASN with a very sloppy fight. Xingyi's going to fall. Aeon did fall, but doesn't matter. The Kraken is healthy, and they are going to take the second game. Or will they? Yep, Kraken easily going to pick up that Vein Crystal.
That was a good game coming out from the side of ASN Esports, and definitely a good game and a much better draft as well. So this is the second game of this best of 5. What do you think, Mini? Do you think Eanix, by any stretch at all, would be able to take this 3rd game? I mean, in the first game, they seemed rather even all in all, and it was just some dirty plays coming out from ASN Esports that secured the game for them. And it was a lot of mistakes as well from Eanix.
I definitely think Eanix have a chance. They're not. It's not as if they've been snowballed in both games and feel like there's nothing we can do to win this 3rd game. They had the first game under their control. They just weren't. They weren't able to push their advantage to get more than 1 or 2 kills, which meant they had to take risky Krakens. And obviously, with that being stolen away, ASN could turn the game around. So I think Eanix, if they win the draft, they have a chance in the game. Whereas in the second game, they lost the draft really quite hard.